Salut! Today we will go through one of the 4 extra forms of the verb you need to recognize and, if possible, use for your GCSE, le subjonctif. We will understand what it is, qu'est-ce que c'est, and how and when to use it. Le subjonctif, just like the conditional, le conditionnel explained in module 5, is not a tense, but it's a mood, as we use it to describe how one views an event which isn't a real fact. There are a few different moods, starting with the one we all use the most, that we call the indicative mood, which describes actual fact in the past, but in the present also, or even in the future, but something which did happen, which is happening, or which will happen. This is where our tenses come from: l'imparfait, le passé composé, le futur proche, le futur simple, et le présent. The tenses we use the most and that I've described in this module. But there are other moods, such as le conditionnel, necessary to speak about a condition. And here, the subjunctive mood, in English as well, that we will use to convey how someone views something. This mood is very helpful to express your opinion, for example, as it is your own view on a subject. We also use it, as you can see here on your downloadable document, after verbs expressing a doubt or an emotion, but also after verbs expressing a wish, or sometimes after an impersonal verb that we've seen in the first module of your conjugation chapter. As you will realize, the verbs I have given you as an example here on your document are all followed by que, Q-U-E, comme croire que, to believe that, préférer que, to prefer that, vouloir que, or again, il faut que, it is necessary that. So having que will help you recognize when to use the subjunctive mood. How does it work? With regard to regular verbs, the subjunctive is made using the stem of the form of the present tense. So there is the il with an s form of the present tense of the verb you are interested in, as described in the document with the verb écouter, to listen, for example. Écouter does at the present tense, ils écoutent for the they form, écoute ending in ent. So you have this ils écoutent, and to get the stem of the subjunctive, you need to remove your ent, leaving us with écoute, e accent, C-O-U-T, which will be the stem of your subjunctive mood. To this, you will now have to add the ending for your subjunctive, as shown on your document. So it will be an I for je, IS for tu, an I again for il, elle, and on. Now we'll have for nous, we'll have I-O-N-S. For vous, it will be I-E-Z, and for il and elle with an S, E-N-T. Notice that for nous and vous, it will take their imperfect form with the I-O-N-S, and I-E-Z, instead of without the I, which will become the present. Et voilà, you have your subjunctive. So if we recap, we will have j'écoute with I, tu écoutes, I-S, il, elle ou on écoute, I, nous écoutions, I-O-N-S, vous écoutiez, I-E-Z, and il and elle with an S, écoute, E-N-T. Should we have a go? Let's check the next page for this. How will you say, I prefer that you eat this? I prefer is je préfère. That is que, the pronoun relative that we will explore in the pronoun module, which is introducing our subjunctive in French. You eat this. You eat this looks like a present in English, but in French will be translated as a subjunctive. To find this, we need to remember the they form at present of the verb manger. Il mange, well done. So now you've got il mange. You need to remove the ent ending, and you need to put your subjunctive ending. So we've got il mange, you remove ent, we've got M-A-N-G, and you put your ending for the subjunctive for tu, which is tu manges. It does resemble to the present, you are right, but this is our subjunctive thanks to the relative pronoun que, introducing the subjunctive. And you will notice that if you was treated as formal or plural, following the same logic, we will end up with je préfère que vous mangiez ça, instead of je préfère que tu manges ça. Vous mangez ça, which does sound a lot more like the imperfect now, but it's actually the subjunctive, again, thanks to our que, which introduces the subjunctive. This form is the one which will give you the highest mark. And it isn't that difficult, so try to give it a go and you will be on the track to get a 9. Let's not forget our negation. Where do you think you should put your ne and pas in the sentence? I prefer that you don't eat too sugary. We've established je préfère que corresponds to I prefer that, which will introduce our subjunctive part of the sentence, tu manges, is the equivalent to you eat for tu informal. So, you don't eat, as we want the negation here, will be very logical. Tu ne manges pas. We sandwich the verb mange. Et voilà, you've sandwiched your verb, you obtain your negative sentence. Too sugary is trop sucré. So our sentence altogether will be je préfère que tu ne manges pas trop sucré. Je préfère que tu ne manges pas trop sucré. Parfait. You did it. And you now have also the perfect sentence to use in your healthy living theme. Merveilleux. We couldn't have a special mood without having irregular verbs. I'm really sorry. They are mentioned on the last page of your document. Unfortunately, you can't guess them and try to find them somehow using a rule. So, I'm really sorry about it, but you just need to learn them by heart. If you want, you can just pick few out of the list. Be aware of the rest, of course, and you'll be perfectly good for your GCSE. I have also given you a list of expressions introducing the subjunctive. Have a look at them, as once again, this is what will give you the top grade at your exam. The subjunctive is extremely easy to place in a lot of themes. So think about it and make flashcards per theme, including this special structure. I have created some for you in the vocabulary tips chapter, but it might be easier for you to remember your own one if you want to make your own flashcard. Start using this structure as you learn them is the best way for you to remember. Even if you make mistakes at first, it's best if you make the mistake at school with your teacher than on the day of your exam. So this is it for us, and of course, please have a go at the quiz. It's the best way to practice and see where you are on that specific mood. Bravo, well done, merci beaucoup et à très bientôt dans une autre vidéo.